and welcome to Scrapbook.com. My name's Alexandra and today I'm here to tell you about the Scrapbook.com exclusive Sizzix Big Shot Machine Bundle and the dies that go with it as well. So today we're looking at the nested rectangle dies. You get 6 dies in the set, so it's great value there. You also get these gorgeous Ocean Sparkle cutting pads. Who doesn't love a bit of added glitter? Plus you get the multi-purpose extended platform, so you can cut all those long dies on here as well. You can also emboss with all these different tabs. Plus, of course, you get the Sizzix machine, as well as this sandwich handy guide, which shows you whether you're cutting, embossing, using thinlets or big dies, what sandwich you actually need to use. Today, I'm also going to show you how to use those dies to create this gorgeous hedgehog jumping on these leaves. Plus, of course, he wobbles, and we're going to create this 3D accent bow. And when you open up the card through that acetate, the jump for joy, it's your birthday is there as well. So let's get started. So the first step for our card is we're going to stamp out and colour in our hedgehog and our leaves. And for that, I'm going to use the Lawn Fawn Jump for Joy stamp set. I also have a couple of the coordinating dies so we can cut them out afterwards as well. So let's grab our leaves and our little hedgehog. We're going to colour it in using alcohol markers. So the rule of thumb with ink is that we use opposites. So if we're colouring with alcohol, we stamp out with a water or dye base. If we want to colour in with watercolours, we want to use something with a solvent base. So I'm using the Scrapbook.com exclusive black dye ink, which is really great for colouring with. I'm going to use some acrylic blocks to stamp these out. And I'm using just a piece of white stamping cardstock. We'll do the same with our hedgehog. Now, because I want to stamp or colour in rather with alcohol-based markers, I'm going to use my heat tool just to set the ink to dry it quicker so that it doesn't smudge when I put those markers on top. And I'm going to put a piece of scratch paper underneath my colouring. Now, when you work with alcohol markers, they're going to soak through your paper because that's how they work. That's how you get those lovely blends. And you want a piece of paper underneath so that that ink has somewhere to go. Otherwise, you're going to get pooling and bleeding around your image. And I'm going to be using today some Nuvo alcohol markers. So I've got the fragrant oranges here, and you get 3 in a pack, and they all blend perfectly. I also have some of the natural browns. And I have a couple of the fair skin tones to add some highlights to our hedgehog. I'm going to start off with the lightest colour. Now they have a chisel and a nib tip, so you can use whichever end you prefer. I like working with the nib particularly. And I'm going to colour them all over first of all with the lightest shade. So now I'm going to go back in with my second shade of orange. So we go from a 389 to a 391. So the higher the number, the darker the shade within that family. You'll also notice that I added some labels on just because I wanted to keep them in their colour families. And I find that an easy way to work. So let's grab that middle shade. And I'm going to start adding some highlights. So I'm starting to go into the V's of the leaves and into some of those shadow parts. When you're colouring, a good rule of thumb is that anywhere that's a V, you want it to be a little bit darker, because that's where your shadows are going to be. So again, I'm just going to go all over it until I've covered those in. And now I'm ready to go back in with my last shade, which is the 393. And I'm really going to just add the orange in those tips. Again, going all over. And then finally, I'm going to go back with that lightest shade, that 389. And I'm going to work around each leaf again, just pulling all those colours together, which will give us that seamless blend. So there are our leaves, and we've got some lovely tones and things in those leaves as well. Now we're ready to move on to our hedgehog, and for that I'm going to use some of the natural browns and a few fair skin tones. I wanted to start with the 477 first of all as my base, and I'm just going to add some flicks to my hedgehog, just so that when I add more flicks with the darker colours, if I miss any areas, you don't notice it. There's no white cardstock peeking through, so I'm just adding some nice solid colours there. And I also want it to come round and frame his face. Now we can go in with those natural browns. Again, you've got 3 tones. We have a 463, a 461 and a 465. So we'll start with that 461. And when I'm doing a hedgehog, I really do just do flicks. I'm going to do flicks on this edge and flicks on the other edge. Then we're going to go in with our 463. We're going to add less flicks. And then finally, even less with that 465. We want him to look nice and prickly, but we also want him to look nice and friendly. So for his stomach, I'm going to use 2 of those natural skin tones. I'm going to start off with the 473. Also going to do the little pads of his feet, his arms, inside of his ear. So there's our hedgehogs. Now we're ready to get all of our die cutting and then our quick to assemble card. So for my accent panels, I'm going to use the Lawn Fawn Knock on Wood paper pack, which has got some lovely colours in here. Everything comes with a small and a big bark print in there, and there's 36 sheets of paper. They come in a 6x6 or 12x12. I like the 6x6 for card making size. Now let's cut out some of our panels. We're going to use this nested rectangle. This is 3rd from smallest, and we're going to cut 2 out on some noble fir cardstock. So let me just wind these through. And if you hear that crack, don't panic, it just means it's working. Particularly when you've got new pads, you may find you get a bit more cracking than at any other time. So there's one. Let's do our second. And I'm on tab number 2, so I've got all my tabs of my multi-platform down. Then we're going to cut out 2 of the next smaller size out of the yellow cardstock. And it's really, it's a bit thicker than paper, not quite as thick as cardstock. And it's absolutely fine to cut 2 out. Just fold your piece of paper in half, and then that's half the die cutting that you need to do. And you'll get both, it'll cut through both layers. Absolutely fine. Good cracks in there. So there's one. We'll carefully peel off our washi tape. There's our second one. I'm going to do the same with the orange, so I'm going to fold it in half, and this is the smallest rectangle. Again, I'm going to use a piece of washi tape just to hold it in the right place. Wind that through. And again, you'll see that we have 2 of them that pop out nicely. And then finally, we need to cut our bow pieces, and I'm using the Lawn Fawn Put a Bow on It. Again, I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to put my bow down. You need to cut 1 of these bow pieces and 1 of the bow tails. Same sandwich again. And you can see how easily both of those pieces pop out. Also just going to run, I've also added the complementary dies to this stamp set, and I put them down with a piece of washi tape. So let me just wind that through as well. So here's our hedgehog, and here are our leaves all cut out. And here I have a piece of white cardstock that I've cut down to 4 by 5¼ inches for our insert piece. And this is a piece of 8.5 by 11. I actually had cut in lengthways. I scored it in the middle like I normally would, and then I added about 1/4 inch before I actually trimmed it. So you can see that I've got that extra piece, which is what will allow us to stick on our top panels. I'm going to just show you how I did that. So I used a score pal. This is a great little tool to have in your room, whether you're scoring card fronts. It comes with a bone folder in there. You just pop your piece into that 1/4 and draw it down. I'm going to do it just a couple of times to make sure it's nice and firm. And then you can fold it over, like so. And on your solid surface, you want to use it to press it down, a bit like a bone folder. The first thing we need to do is assemble our top and bottom rectangles. So we'll start off with our green, then we'll add our yellow pieces and we'll add some adhesive to them. And I'm going to centre that up. I'm going to do the same with the other one. I really love this little woodland theme, whether it's for birthdays, for Thanksgiving, for a happy full card, all sorts of fun ideas. And I love hedgehogs, so anything like that can be used all the year around. We're going to stick in our orange centerpiece. Now we also get to build our bow, and for that I'm going to use some glue dots. Glue dots make this process really easy. You want to put a glue dot on this edge here, and then bring that on the reverse side to the middle. Then you're going to do the same. Bring that to the middle. And then we're going to put one more glue dot on the reverse side of that tab, just on there. And we wrap that all the way around so that when you put it this way, you have that perfect bow on there. And there's different sizes of bows within the dies as well. Plus we need to add our little bow tails. So I'm going to put a glue dot in the middle there. And then just press down our top piece. And we're going to pop that in the center of one of our rectangles. So now we can pop our top piece on here. And to do that, I'm going to use just a little piece. I'm going to put some adhesive on this anyway. So I'm going to use this piece of cardstock. And I'm going to make sure I have lots of adhesive on that 1/4 inch. So you just want it before that score line. So you can either use some scratch paper or use your insert piece, as we're going to add adhesive to it anyway. And you'll find it'll peel up nicely like this. And we can put our first panel on. Now I've already pre-cut a piece of window sheet to go in here. So again, I'm going to add some adhesive. And I'm going to stick this on. Like that. Now I'm going to add some adhesive on the bottom side. And then you want to close up your card so that you line up this piece here with your corners of your card, like so. And you may want to get a pair of scissors and just trim up your acetate, but we can do that at the end. I already have my insert piece ready to go. So again, that's cut down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 white stamping cardstock. And I can pop that inside. Now before I add my wobbler, I want to do that accent stamping on the inside. To do that, I'm going to use my Tim Holtz platform. Move those to the side. We're actually going to work upside down, and I'll show you why in a second. We're going to start off with our card closed like this, and I'm going to use the Jump for Joy out of the same stamp set. I'm going to put it here where I want to be able to see it. And I've got my card up into these guidelines here, which is important for getting this in the right place. Center that up there. We'll pick up our stamp. And now we're going to open our card, put it back into those guidelines, put our magnet in. And this means that our sentiment's going to be in that acetate space. So let's use that summer orange. Remember to keep your sentiment upside down, otherwise it'll be the wrong way when you stamp it out. Plus we're going to add the It's Your Birthday, but there's other options in there. There's Happy Day, You Did It, Fall Is Here, and That We're Friends, depending on what you want your card to be for. So it's a lovely versatile set again. Again, it's upside down. And I'm going to stamp that with the classic brown Scrapbook.com ink. So here you can see that we can see that Jump for Joy through that acetate panel as well. Now let's add our final details. First of all, I want to put down our leaves, and for that I'm going to use a glue dot or 2. And I'm just going to put them just over the edge of that green panel there. And then I'm going to use this accent wobbler. Now these wobblers have 2 pieces, so you have a really solid piece and you have a more flexible piece. The solid piece goes on your card, the more flexible piece goes on your item. You can use it the other way up, you just get a different sort of more damped wobble depending which way up they go. But I'd recommend putting that solid piece on your card. They already have sticky on the back, so you can stick those straight down. And I like to tuck it underneath the leaves so that you don't see that end. And we can stick on our hedgehogs. So you can see there how he is wobbling. So there we are. We have 2 pairs, or a pair rather, of wobbling hedgehogs. Thank you so much for joining me today to use the Scrapbook.com exclusive bundle. I will see you again very soon in some new videos. My name's Alexandra from Hedgehog Hollow. See you soon. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more from Scrapbook.com, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a message. Happy crafting.